start show.
We just look at you guys.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Torn Tuesday. Hello, Cliff.
Well, hello there, Justin, and hello to the wide world of the web out there in the internets, and hello. Once again, it is Torn Tuesday, which means the OneRing.net is live streaming yet again, forged by the fans and for the fans of J.R.R. Tolkien. Welcome aboard, everybody.
Very good.
How is it looking? How is it sounding?
Hold on.
Ba-dum-bum. Did that sound okay? I'm going to be I'm going to be looking over here.
That did not trigger.
Because
that did not trigger. Hold on.
It didn't. Wait, what?
Wait, hold on. Houston, we have a problem.
What's the issue?
JC, can you switch the scene on OBS? Because I just lost network. Yeah. No. Just main.
We call it technical jiggery pokery.
Not opener, the next one. Yes.
Everything's really good.
All right.
You know,
now we're on.
I'll tell you.
Cliff.
Now we're on.
Now
Are we
we're
live
on.
again?
You're talking to our secret guest
I'm
that we
talking
haven't
to-
unveiled yet.
No, I went to be quite honest. Thank you. You're so lovely to ask. I'm great. I'll tell you more about that later. But no, we have secret guests, and I'm trying to do the VIP treatment. You do the general introductions, Justin. Go. Talk to the audience.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the OneRing.net, your weekly dose of all things Lord of the Rings. Usually, we talk about everything Tolkien. Today, we're going deeper into fantasy, and we're talking about The Quest.
But it also is tangentially, obviously, connected to Tolkien, because when you talk about The Quest, which aired originally a number of years ago on ABC Television Network, and now is back again in 2022 in very fine form, The Quest brings to mind who from the world of the Lord of the Rings? None other than Mark Ordesky, ladies and gentlemen. And when we're going to be talking about The Quest, look no further than Justin in his incredible ability to pull strings and to get interviews and to get wonderful guest stars to come and join us. So thank you for
No, that's
organizing
not me.
all this.
No, that's
I
Torn.
give you,
the OneRing.net
well,
did this.
I'll lay the credit at the OneRing.net then.
Yes.
Oh, it's really, excuse me, who put that there? But it's really very nice to have wonderful guests come and join us to talk about something so near and dear to our hearts, collective hearts. Justin, without further ado, may I? Do we have the camera ready?
Yes.
We do have the camera ready.
Yes.
This is excited. Are you camera ready?
Yes.
Lady, oh my gosh, I can't do this, but I'm going to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our show, Jane Fleming, Mark Ordesky, from The Quest, right here at Scum and Villainy Cantina, our very special
We got a
guests.
moving light. It worked.
It worked. Hey, it actually came on. Look at that.
Yes.
Thank
Hello,
you.
guys. You've got a couple mics there.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to the OneRing.net Torn Tuesday.
Pleasure to be here.
We are happy to be
Yet-
here. We're tangled, though. Wait one sec.
We're
Oh, okay.
tangled.
That was a good movie.
Tangled up in blue.
Tangled.
That was a
Tangled
good
was
movie.
good. So the Quest. This is a reboot or sequel for people that remember the ABC show.
I think that it's a reimagining. I think that it is taking all that we loved from the original and reimagining it as something brand new. Is that fair?
Yeah, it takes place within the universe of Everrealm, which of course included the ABC series. But now that we're on Disney Plus here in 2022, yeah, it's a brand new thing.
So how do you even start reimagining a show you guys created? Did you have like a couple different big book Bibles or show Bibles of just like we can go this route or this route or this route?
Well, the good news is we had amazing partners at Disney Plus who loved the first one, and they said, you know what, we want to reboot it, we want to reimagine it, and here are some rules of engagement. They wanted to throw away all the reality tropes. Let's try to do something brand new, and so no talking to camera interviews, no eliminations, all
Right.
the things that we've grown accustomed to. Because there's a desire to create a brand new form of storytelling, which we called, I think we called this immersive adventure.
An immersive adventure. Now, it is distinctly different to me because I'm watching it. I'm on episode 3 right now, and I'm thoroughly involved. I'm thoroughly engaged. I love your choice of casting. Your actors and your performers are doing some really delicious things, and I'm going to name some of them by name soon. But I'm telling you, I'm noticing some things. Where were the eliminations? Why is it there's not one less paladin in every episode? And you're talking to somebody who, like most of us, I'm accustomed to watching The Amazing Race. When we look at those formats of those kinds of shows, and you're looking for that element of competition that comes in and interrupts the idea of teamwork right away. And in conversation, many of the paladins are actually talking in episode 3 about that spirit of one-upmanship or competition that would erode the togetherness and the teamwork that's essential to what they're trying to do. So really, you guys just wanted to rewrite that approach entirely and not even have that. That's fascinating.
No, that's right. We wanted to do something bold, something different that vibrated on the frequency of everything we loved,
Right.
but pushed things in an entirely new direction.
Yeah.
And you know, I grew up, to date myself, in a time where
I
there
do that all the
was-
time on this show,
there was
so
no
that's
such
fine.
thing as a computer, and my parents sent away for these books, these fantasy books, and you could send away and you could put your child's name in the book, and they were like
yes.
hand typed. I mean, they were like really, it was really low production value, but I loved them. Like, I got to read my name being a lead character in this fantasy.
Right.
And to me, you know, this is the 21st century manifestation of that. Putting kids in the adventure and letting them have a real role in saving the day.
Right. And so Disney Plus said, let's do it, but let's do it with a different approach. And did you get to go back to working with and many of the same people? I mean, big hat. My hat is off to your production design. Dan, what's Dan's last name?
Dan Boyd. He worked
My
on the first
gosh,
one.
he's working his butt off on this show, and it shows. Everything on screen that he's doing is, whoa, it just looks, I'm sorry, but he's upped himself up from the last time, and things are looking really great. I just love what he's doing.
He was one of the first people on site, and he had a giant workshop going from the earliest days.
Okay,
And
that's
he
good.
actually, if you've watched the show, you can watch the paladins go up those steep steps to the Fates Temple.
Mm-hmm.
There was a big storm up there, and a giant tree fell.
Oh.
And so they said, you know what, we need stairs anyway. So they moved the tree into position and then carved stairs out of this massive tree that fell down because of the wind and the fires that had hit that section of the world.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, beautiful
Wow.
stuff.
To actually working with that, like talk about reusing, reclaiming, and reusing. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
So you did get other members of the previous team to assemble again.
Yes, we
Yes.
did. So of course we have our partners in crime, Elise Doganeri and Bertram von Munster and Mark Ziak and Doug Vargas from the Amazing Race team.
Right.
And then Rob Eric and Michael Williams and David Collins who do Queer Eye. And they were all of our partners on the original one, and we created actually a company after we finished the 2014 one called Another Quest Production, and so sort of in the hopes that we would be able to do more and more of these.
And
That was it sat there dormant for years and years and years, and then we got the band back together.
Are you back at the same castle location?
No.
Okay.
No. So this is the pandemic. So we were supposed to shoot this show in July of 2020 in Austria at Castle Krusenstein.
Yes.
And of course, the pandemic stopped the world, and we unwound our show for a while. And you want to tell the rest of the story?
Yeah, and then obviously we could no longer shoot in Europe, but Disney Plus still wanted the show. But they said it has to be in the U.S., and they'd prefer it would be in California.
Yes.
So there was really only one place where we could find a castle in California that might do.
And Michael Williams had actually scouted that castle for the 2014 version of this. And so we all got on a plane in August of 2020 with our masks and goggles and, sort of our hazmat suits. And we got up there and we scouted it. We were like, this could really be magical. So it's Castello de Amorosa up in Calistoga, California.
And one of the benefits, not unlike Castle Krusenstein, when you're at the castle, because it's set into this sort of hilly wine country, There's not, when you look around, there's not buildings, there's not modern buildings. The landscape, if you just simply glance around, if you're a paladin standing on the ramparts, you're not looking out and seeing, you know, McDonald's or a gas station or any of those kinds of things. So it helps suspend disbelief.
Indeed. Wow. I'm kind of really intrigued by this whole process, and I'm also intrigued that it must have been different. Was it helpful in any way to have all this extra time? I mean, it was a worldwide pandemic.
I wish I could say yes.
Can I say, I'm not going to put words into your mouth, but it had to be either really crazy and helpful, or maybe it was just a horrible distraction and made everything worse.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't get the benefit of the time because we had created a narrative and a trajectory for the show in Austria that had to be different than the one that we shot in California because we had to go to a different kingdom. So our world builder partners, a wonderful team named Eric Newman and Candace Lee, took everything that they had prepared for Austria and moved it away, and we started from scratch.
And now suddenly the heirs had to be on the run, or refugees from Sanctum, which was their home kingdom, which is what we had created in Austria. So that's all we had, but suddenly that had to be done at speed.
So they honestly, I mean, inside scoop, but they ended up writing, I think, probably a script every 5 to 7 days.
Whoa. No, you're kidding. That's insane.
And they had time for rewrites, etc. But because we needed to have the baseline of what was going to happen with the scripted characters, so that we could cast the characters.
Yes.
So that our reality team could create challenges that fit with the basic construct, so that our studio partner at Disney Plus could approve the general trajectory.
Yeah.
So it was really, honestly, a flat-out sprint from September until February when we shot it. We were supposed to shoot in December.
Wow.
And in December, sadly, wildfires tore through Napa.
Yeah.
Yes,
and took
yes.
out one of the buildings that was a set that we'd already identified as a set. And our we had to also make sure that the vineyard was safe and that trees weren't going to fall on people. And we had to make sure that environmentally everything was safe. So we delayed until mid-January. And then, if everybody remembers, in December of 2020, the Delta surge happened. And so just to be safe and give ourselves a little distance, we moved it to February. So we were the little engine that could.
I'm blown away.
That Delta wave was huge.
I'm blown away.
Right there.
But in terms of handling your production, handling the team, keeping the thing cohesive, getting the scripts done on time, wow, I can't.
The interesting thing, though,
can't.
about hearing this
insane.
story is you don't see any of that in this show.
No.
No,
That's
I
called
honestly wouldn't have known.
producing.
There's no masks. There's no background characters that have. You didn't cleverly create ninjas that have masks on in universe. You would not know that this show was shot during a pandemic.
I think you'll notice, and we wrote this in, you'll notice that all of a sudden, there were fewer and fewer villagers because, of course, Tavora was coming and everybody had to hide. And
Yes.
So there were choices that we made in the narrative that would support ourselves not having tons of extras and tons of possibilities of infection. Because our show was such that, really if one person got sick, it was over.
Did it help that it was shot outdoors? You're in a forest.
We don't really know. Maybe we were masked indoor and outdoor, so it probably did help.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I hadn't. You pulled it off beautifully. Obviously, I had no clue that there was so much trauma going on trying to get this bloody thing produced. I mean, I'm sitting there.
It was a quest of its own.
It was. It must have been. But I'm going to start a Raquel Jean-Louise Appreciation Society.
Sure.
She turned on the lights in my tree. She's amazing. She was committed. She was on point. And then here comes Harry Aspinwall. Delightful to watch. And I'm just watching the two of them in particular because they're so delightful. They're really enjoying it. And the guys who are playing your monsters are just chewing up the scenery and having a great, great time. I'm having a blast watching this show. And that's amazing because all the difficulty completely invisible to me, much like what happened with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where the audience had no clue really how much difficulty was.
Right.
And like you were buffeted against the tempest to get things done, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm amazed. This is really, really cool. I'm so grateful that you're both here to share these stories and to tell us more about this. Now let's talk about.
Well, we've got people in the chat room saying they're not even paying attention to us. We're watching the chat, guys.
Yeah, we see the chat.
I see a bunch of people from Europe have just joined the show,
Okay.
and they're like, "What is the quest?" First
The
off,
quest.
so let's.
Well, I do want to talk about that. We're blending genres now.
Right.
And this is a whole new concept.
First
Maybe.
off, the basics, the technical basics. It's on Disney Plus, and it's available worldwide.
Worldwide.
What but is it dubbed? Is it subbed? Is it variations?
It is
different
dubbed.
actors?
It is in some ridiculous amount of languages. I keep saying
Right.
81, but it's somewhere between 68 and 81. I'm not sure.
But it's
entirely sure.
it's one version of the show. It's the same show everywhere in Disney Plus that you tune in.
So India, Brazil,
Yep.
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. They love the show. They stand behind it. They stand behind it as a format. They see it as the a future subgenre of things they'll be doing. So we're very
That's
excited
so
to be
cool.
the first.
This
Did you
feels
pitch it?
groundbreaking. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
this does
yeah.
feel groundbreaking.
No, it is.
We're at the cusp of something, and we're just walking into it fresh, and I'm delighted at that. That's you don't get that very often.
Did you
You know,
pitch it as
cool.
an all-region global show, or did it become apparent through the creative process? Like, oh, this might have universal appeal.
I think that this is, a Disney.
Yeah.
We'd have to get on one of the executives, but I think that it's a Disney original, and they take their originals seriously. They don't do a lot of them, and they really
Right.
believed in what we were up to, and was always going to be a worldwide effort.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh. The man, we've had so many questions popping up on our Discord all weekend long as people were discovering the show, and
Yes.
so I guess the first question is, how did you find the not just the characters, the what do you call the contestants?
Right.
Paladins.
The paladins. How did you find them? Was it like a major search in a pandemic? Like,
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, the answer is yes. And there are companies that specialize in seeking people that might want to be in a, quote, unscripted television show. And we knew the profile, we knew the age, we knew we were looking for people sort of 13 to 16. We knew that these people should have a love of fantasy, gaming, books, film, comic book, whatever. And we knew that they wanted to be unabashedly themselves. We wanted people that would just be themselves. So those were
and
the
they
criteria.
came from everywhere. I mean, I think that our casting crew, they went out to, all the obvious, like Ren fairs and gaming well, there were no conventions, but they also told libraries about it. In fact, Serene, one of our paladins, was told to audition by her local librarian, which
Yeah.
is a wonderful story. And she'd
Really?
known Serene her whole life and said, I know your love of archery and your love of fantasy, and I think you should go for it. And
Wow.
Serene did, and she's
Yeah.
one of our lucky 8.
But they're from all over the country, from Maryland, Texas, California. I mean, they're really from all over.
Brooklyn, yeah, all over the place.
and they sent in videos, or did you have like in
So
person
the
auditions?
casting people they send in videos, sort of handmade videos from their parents, and
We saw
fill
glimpses
out.
of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We used them in
Yes.
the show open
Yeah,
actually
in the
to
show opening.
contextualize what we were up to.
Yes.
Yeah. So they sent those in, and then we, our casting group, culled it, and then they put I think we probably saw 50 to 100 of the kids, and then sort of cull, and Disney weighs in, and then it's like it's the golden ticket.
Does the casting? Did you choose the casting based on the scripts that you were getting and the actors, the characters that you had created as part of the fantasy element? Like, we need like out of all the contestants, you're like, all right, because we've got this fantasy, these fantasy characters, we should find real people that kind of will have a great time?
It was a separate process. It was actually incredibly separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we cast the kids just for themselves, for what we saw in them. In that situation, we kind of are the fates, the
right.
one looking for the people with a hero's heart. And by the way, almost every kid we saw has a hero heart. So if you didn't get on, try again. So it's a variety of circumstances and trying to figure it out. It's very exciting, and there are a few that you're like, no, and then you have to have 8, and so these are our 8. And then the scripted process was very traditional. We sent out sides. We had a wonderful casting group, Helen Geyer and Kendra Clark, who had worked with Disney before, and they helped us find all of these amazing, undiscovered, yet to be discovered actors.
Oh yeah, they're fun to watch.
Aren't they great?
I can tell they're having a great time.
Yeah, and they really
I
had
can
to
tell.
work hard. I mean, they came a couple weeks early. They not only did sort of acting, coaching with a coach we hired named Chris Osborne, but they would do improv exercises all day. Some of them would pretend to be the kids and pepper them with questions, and some of them would be the actors, and then they'd switch.
Yeah.
And then all while being trained in stunts and horseplay and all of that stuff, which was, I think, if you spoke to them, their favorite part of the day.
The comments about the slashed jeans, was that unscripted? That was like
Unscripted.
I thought so.
Unscripted, and in fact, there was a lot more that.
Oh yeah.
That we would have loved to use, but you've got to make choices. But there were some wonderful backs and forths and
I bet.
pop culture references.
Well, I'm starting a new fan club for Harry Aspinwall and Raquel Jean Louise.
Yeah, well, they deserve it. They all deserve it. But everybody's got their favorites.
Yeah, those are my personal favorites. But I'm also in love with the hardworking Lon Chaney type people who have to put on all that makeup. Now let's go back to, was it Doug? He was your big bad guy, and
Doug was our big bad guy in
yeah.
2014.
And I forget his last name.
We had 3 new
Tate.
Tate. Yes,
Yeah,
thank
Doug
you.
Tate. We had
Yes,
3
Doug
new
Tate.
actors that played the characters this time. So 3 for 4 of the creatures.
Really?
Yes.
So much fun.
And you're going to hear from
So
them.
much fun.
You're going to hear from. They'll be back in a lot of different things, and
Yes.
they're already all working a lot.
Yeah.
So.
I'm loving that because it's a dedication to practical effects. We're getting back to Lawrence McElroy being alerts.
Yeah.
We're back in that wheelhouse. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that we're back in that wheelhouse. It's great, isn't it?
Did as it was filming, did the writers have to adjust the scripts based on what the kids were doing?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Huh.
yeah?
So we are trying to figure out an
And
antidote. That's
are
good.
there any challenges to that?
There are and there aren't. I mean, the good news is the writers were there on set with us, standing by. They had ideas that they implemented. Sometimes the actors themselves had ideas. There's a particularly beautiful moment in episode 7 where one of our fates calls out Paladin Myra in a really beautiful, beautiful way, and that was Nandi's request, and we said go for it, and it really plays so beautifully. And then there were things that the kids did that just had to, we had to write in. So the one thing that I can think of is that, they wanted to work together.
Yeah.
They wanted to work together a lot. And
Did you expect a little more competition?
I would think
we
so.
did.
We're all hardened, cynical producer types, so I think, yes, we did. And these kids are the hope for the future because they just didn't take the bait at all. So there's a line that Prince Cedric says. It's like, how is there going to be a one true hero if all they want to do is work together? Like those kinds of things. We popped into the narrative so that we'd make sure that it was current to what was happening with the kids.
I wonder if the pandemic influenced the kids' behavior, right? Like, if you film this, in October, end of 20, they had all these students had just spent a whole school year, work, school from home, no
Yeah.
recess,
Yeah.
no outdoor activities for most of the country.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure that it was a blessing for them, apart from the fact that they were thrilled to be part of the show. They were thrilled to be with other kids, period, for any reason. So, we
With other
think
humans, yeah.
for the first 3 days, they literally spoke to each other almost nonstop, just because they were so excited to be with peers and friends, which was fantastic. I mean, they just ran like all the time because they were so excited.
That is so beautiful. For the audience who's just joining us fresh, we're joined by very special guests, Jane Fleming and Mark Ordesky. Some of you may know Mr. Ordesky from the ancient past with some little movie called Rings or something. But Jane and Mark are here sharing delightful stories and insights into the new version of The Quest, which is now streaming worldwide on Disney+. One of my favorite streamers.
Jane, you were at New Line, yeah?
Yeah, I was. I was there, and I was there at the beginning.
Yeah.
Mark and I ran the numbers on Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Were you there during the time of the Turtles and the Nightmare films at New Line?
I came in 1992, so it was just a little after Turtles. So Turtles was in 1990.
Yeah.
And Mark had been there since '88.
Yeah.
And I worked for Bob and Michael, who ran New Line. And my first job at New Line was to put together a green light process for all the movies that we were going to do. And and I looked at them. I was young, and I said, "Well, that's a big job, and maybe I could have a help." And they said, "Okay, well, here's Ordesky and DeLuca, and then Mike DeLuca, that is,
Yeah,
and
Mike
then
DeLuca,
and
yes.
then a bunch of the distribution guys." And I was in New York. Mark was in LA. We became fast friends. It was before the internet, to age us again, and and we became really, really good friends. We all got married in the same year. DeLuca, all three of us got married in the same year. We were young
Nice.
kids. Well, I won't get into that. And then, the rest is history. But I was there the day that Bob said, "Let's try to make this work." With Rings, and I was there before Mark even took Peter in.
Yeah, and the origin story of the Quest ties to this moment because when everyone was down for sort of pre-production, Orlando and the Hobbits particularly, they went down early for horse training, sword training, archery training, so they could look competent and accomplished, and we would get videotape sent back so we could, observe. And Jane and I looked at some of the videotape, and it was amazing, and the thought came.
Yeah, I got sort of indignant. I was like, why do actors get to go to horse camp and sword camp and go have fun for 3 to 6 weeks and wear costumes? Shouldn't normal people get to do that? And that was the thought.
Right.
And here we are. That was the thought.
That was
and
the
so
seed.
When Mark and I started our company,
Court 5.
Court
Right.
5.
Wow.
We said to each other, we happened to be office mates right next door were the Queer Eye guys, and we said, remember that idea about normal people being in a fantasy world? We should go pitch that to those guys and see if they think we're crazy.
And we were sure they were going to say, oh, please, that's already been pitched a million times. No one likes that idea.
Yeah.
But they didn't say that.
And they loved it, and then we the four of us, developed a version of the show, pretty close, actually, to where we are now. And we went to the powers that be at CAA, and they said, you need a really big, undeniable competition reality producer to be with you. And so we went down, marched down, and we met Bertram von Munster and said, here's our wild idea. And he said, I'm in. And that's sort of, that was years ago. I mean, that was...
And that's how you make a TV show, folks.
That's how you do it.
No, but you had to build for this because it was so incredibly unique, has never been done before. You really needed to prove the model before anybody would take a risk on it. And that, my friends, since I'm the Lord of the Rings, this is where we are, that's what Peter Jackson did. Peter Jackson walked into New Line with a complete proof of concept. He answered every question that you could possibly ask if you were a cynic. And he got a yes, and we took that. It mimicked him on the costume.
The chat room is saying all caps, "Thank you, Jane Fleming, for making this."
We're in.
But look, Lord of the Rings is one of the most expensive movies ever made. You know.
Well, in terms of being an
fantasy-
independent film,
Well,
right? Was
Yeah.
it still technically considered the most expensive indie film ever made?
I don't know if it'd be characterized as.
I actually will say, having done the numbers, it was a big risk, but it wasn't an insane risk. It was because we knew that a lot of the international, had it not worked, it would have taken a lot of companies out of business. But a lot of our international partners took away a lot of New Line's risk.
Yeah,
They did, because you got all the foreign pre-sales.
We had pre-sold a lot of
early in that process.
and we had output deals that we knew that there had to be some politicking. It was a big risk for everyone.
I've often said, as bold as it was for Shea to greenlight the 3 films, what was actually even bolder was, after the first film was a big hit, to then double down for a huge amount of visual effects enhancements for the 2 Towers and Return of the King, because someone who was just trying to play the numbers would say, I have a hit, I spent this much money, I don't need to spend more money. Because I'm just trying to play the margins. I'm not trying to swing for the fence.
Right.
And that's not what New Line did. So that, as bold as the green light was, and it was bold,
Yes.
doubling down when you quote didn't have to, and backing Peter's vision, that was the even more bold move.
But with Fellowship's stockpile of Academy Award nominations and other critical acclaim and the box office, all those elements combined, I'm sure, wow.
No, it was 100% the right thing to do, and the right thing was done.
But I don't think The Quest could be made in 2001. I mean, a show like this would be too expensive, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, yes.
So what changed now that a streamer can do a show of this quality? I mean, you've got wizard fights. I won't spoil it, but I've seen shots of the final episode, and I'm like, Harry Potter did that in a $500 million budget movie.
Well, it wasn't as big a blockbuster budget as we would like. But look, we had everybody shared a passion, and we had a little gathering of some of the cast and the crew on Saturday. And what Mark and I said is that the Quest is an act of madness, like creative madness. And we were blessed enough to find a lot of like-minded creatives who wanted to work that hard and throw in to create something new and magical. And we had unbelievable artisans that worked incredibly hard. Our costume designer is a guy named Johnny Wuchek, who brought his team from New York, who had all done Broadway, right? So they knew live performance and knew how to, but almost every single main cast costume was handcrafted, no rentals.
Did you guys hire a magician for some of these tricks that were seen on set? I feel like there was real magic at play, maybe enhanced with visual effects.
Yes, there was. But a lot of it was sort of old standard tricks.
Yeah, a lot of it was just great stagecraft. Which was, one of the fun examples we use, because it's very important that the kids never pretend ever.
Right.
But that the audience gets this wonderful experience. So, for example, and you can see this in the trailer if you haven't watched the show yet, there's a moment where the paladins build a beacon, it's sort of shaped like a pyramid. And when they successfully do it, the top of the beacon shoots a Klieg light, which is a real light. It's live, it's on set, and the kids react with great jubilation because they know they've done it and they've lit this beacon.
Yes.
And then there's another shot, which is wide back from the castle, where there's a visual effect that takes the Klieg light and turns it into a giant magical dome.
Yes.
But the kids are still responding to their victory and the fact that they made magic happen live in front of themselves.
And then we enhanced it for the home audience, so that because people are so used to a high level of fantasy that you want to make sure. What we wanted to do with this new opportunity to reintroduce Everrealm was to have that level of quality. And you should talk about the visual effects, because that has a Rings connection
Well, I wanted
as well.
to dive in on one particular effect, the mirror shields. When you're bouncing. what was that? Was that like a laser on set, and then you kind
Yes.
of enhanced that?
And
or-
by the way,
I guess
It
I
was
haven't seen
great.
that yet. I'm in
That
episode
was-
3.
I'm
that
not
was
spoiling
so,
anything.
No,
What?
no, no. But that was so challenging because
Yeah.
to even find the right sort of laser, because it needs to be powerful enough that you can bounce it 6 or 7 times and it still is a beam,
Yes.
but not so powerful it doesn't burn a hole in something. So,
And
yeah.
especially our kids' eyes,
Right.
there was a
Oh,
real
can't
risk.
imagine, yeah.
So the kids had to wear. We had those amazing costumes that had protective eyewear underneath them.
Yeah.
So they were protected.
Yeah, I saw it, and it's well hidden.
Yeah.
It's well done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a fun challenge.
And we do need to do a ring shout out. The visual effects company that did the post-production visual effects,
Mm-hmm.
which is Fuse, is run by Jim Riegel, who,
Yeah.
of course,
Oh.
Oscar winner for The Lord of the Rings many times over.
So we the Rings is all throughout the quest.
Really?
Yes.
Working with Jim Riegel? I'm touched because he's one of my favorite people.
Yeah,
and
he's
we
great.
love having him here to have conversations with us. How cool is that? You know, there was
Wait, I just have one more question on the laser.
Bring it. mean,
I'm not going to spoil it for everybody at home.
I'm all about practical
But
stagecraft. I'm all about
There's
that
a
stuff.
moment where the source of the light has a little stumble at the top of the keep.
Yeah.
Right? Was that scripted? Because it felt like
No.
something. Yeah. Just.
I mean,
and
at
the
least
kids
if
were like,
I'm
"What happened?"
yeah, no. I think. I mean, we should look at it, but anything with the kids was not scripted. Like
Yeah.
that all like.
So they
like,
had to just work. With
one of our paladins really did hurt himself. Like you saw him
Once
fall. Like
once
that
the
all
paladins
happened.
are there, it is live. There's no retakes. There's no, hey, could we do another angle? Like, hey, could you try not to stand in Myra's eye line? Like, none of that stuff. Whatever happens, that's why the scripted actors, the cast, needed to be such great improvisers. That's why the whole production unit needed to be so tight. It was like Lakers fast break basketball. Everyone just had to move and flow.
Right.
Because whatever happened when the contestants, the paladins were there, that's what we were using.
Right.
And then we did build in, at the end of that, there was a scripted, I think maybe this is what you were talking about, we had scripted that something wasn't going to completely happen, and the kids are like, what's happening?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
that's-
yeah.
So the kids' reactions, that was just us, we knew where we needed the story to go, and they were reacting in real time to the complication of it.
Yeah, complication is a good word.
Was
Yeah.
there a particular quest or task that you were surprised that they found more difficult than you had expected?
No, I mean, I think that. I
For
don't
me,
think
building
so.
the pyramids, I was like, wow, they're taking a long time.
It was really hard.
By the way, you want to know what the most fun job? The most fun job on the quest, more fun than anything, is actually the people who test the challenges. Like, I dare say that might be the
gosh.
best job of any job. These are the people who, after we've designed them, the Disney's approved them, we've built them, and now we want to see how they work, and do we need to make adjustments? Because is it going to take 3 hours to
Yes.
build the beacon? That's not going to be any good. Or conversely, is someone going to crack it in 12 minutes?
Oh.
So,
So you have a team of people who are actually standing in the woods with their arms up and somebody's shouting, "Send more rocks."
yeah. But yeah,
I love that.
the challenge testers
love that.
have fun, and we all get to watch them, and sometimes
Really?
we're videotaping them, and
Yeah, and just to see where, so actually we can talk about the Draguor challenge, which was in the second episode. We realized we needed to add more weight, or it would have gone on for a really long time. Now, it was really heavy. I mean, I tried it. It's also a really weird angle.
Well, and talk about the height compensation, which
Oh,
is
and
so clever.
So you wanted to make sure that that everything's fair. Fair is a very important
Oh, yeah,
thing.
yeah, and you've got the
so
cantilever.
they designed. Mark knows this better, but they designed little step ups to make sure that everybody was getting the weight at the
So
exact
people
same
didn't
angle.
just go, basically,
Oh.
Mila,
Yes.
Emily Gately, so there was an order for people had to stand in certain spots so that someone like Serene wasn't put at a disadvantage
Right.
compared to
Or
someone like
or
Holden.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Holden wasn't put at a disadvantage because he's the tallest one there.
Right.
So that kind of stuff. This is the fun. All the challenge design stuff is super fun.
That's really cool. Imagine having that kind of a job. Challenge tester for the Quest.
I know.
Can you imagine?
Are you
being-
hiring for season 2 yet?
I know. I mean, it's kind of tempting, you know?
Well,
you get to be inside the production and get to see some of the glorious and devious things that you're coming up with.
I have to say, it is really fun being inside the machine that makes this show. It
Yeah.
is. It is.
Wow.
It is. Mark says it best. It is like planning a surprise party every day for 8 kids, and they arrive, and you go, and you're like biting your nails. Like, I'm not prone to worry. Like, things go wrong. You're like, like, you know, you're just like. It's just mayhem. It's so fun.
And the giant explosion of foam from the potions
Yes.
challenge.
Yeah, that's what the magic.
I want to
Science.
know. I want to know who made the
Elephant
foam.
foam, it's called.
Really?
If you
Yeah.
Google elephant foam, then you'll
Elephant
know.
foam.
Then you can do your own.
You can make your own elephant foam.
I'm scared, but
You
I
can
might.
do your
Be
own.
very careful because a little elephant foam seriously goes a long way.
It seems to.
And if you want to go down a YouTube rabbit hole,
That's
if
so
you
great.
look up elephant foam, you might sit on YouTube for the next 2 hours watching some of these.
And instead, you could be watching The Quest,
The-
which is
the
much
Quest-
more fun.
The Quest includes it.
Eravandi said, I loved the laser effect. We see you. Hi, Eravandi. We're talking to our friends who are joining us on the chat. We're active right now on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, on all these platforms. And welcome to the show, live, everybody. We've got Jane and Mark over here.
I don't even
Yes.
know where to look. Where are we supposed to look? Hi,
Okay,
everyone.
okay.
I've got cameras everywhere. I set this up like a reality
I see
show,
us. There we
like
go.
Big Brother. So there's cameras everywhere that I can just cut to.
Sometimes it's this one.
Right.
Right? Sometimes it's
Hi.
that one.
Hi,
Sometimes
everyone.
it's way over there.
What?
Right.
So was there any? Did you guys like explore like setting this up kind of like a Big Brother where like they're living in a fantasy world and there's hidden cams and we could like tune in live on the internet and watch them struggle about cooking and cleaning and living?
Because of the age of our contestants, that was
right.
probably a no.
Oh, yeah.
But we did contemplate it for the 2014 version, and we decided that wasn't the spirit of our show.
Right.
I'm glad you considered
Yeah.
that because I find nothing less interesting than Big Brother. It is so undynamic.
Right.
There's no dynamism. It's not interesting to me. It's Dullsville. I said it out loud, folks. You heard it here first.
I disagree.
Dullsville. No, you know, when you want to talk about good quality in that genre of reality-based competition shows,
Quality.
you obviously look at RuPaul's Drag Race and also The Amazing Race,
Yep.
also known as Ugly Americans Behaving Badly Abroad, as most people call it. But you know what I'm talking about. And now The Quest is spinning everything in a whole different way. It's about the fantasy and the narrative itself that you're trying to create has to change because of the strange, sometimes organic and unknown responses of these paladins who are thrown into this magical mix, not knowing what to do next. That's really fascinating to me, really. It really is fascinating, and I think you've done an excellent job.
Oh, thank you.
Love the
Thank you.
first version, love the second version.
Oh, there was a question on our Discord, first and second versions, and
Right.
we have a surprise for you guys at
Oh,
home.
we do have a
What
surprise, so
is
stay tuned.
Is the ABC version that you did a few years ago in the same cinematic universe
Yes.
as this one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Everrealm. for real,
Everrealm
real.
is our
There's
universe.
only one
Okay.
universe. There's no multiverse.
Correct.
Well,
It's not.
I don't know. It's hard to.
Everrealm has 12 kingdoms.
Everrealm has 12 kingdoms. Everrealm conceivably is part of our grander multiverse.
Right.
Is what I'd like to say. Is that we've always felt that whenever things go wrong in Everrealm,
Yeah,
they will call upon heroes from another realm
yes.
to come help them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is there any tiny possibility that the previously broadcast version of the Quest might show up and be shown again on
Well,
Disney Plus?
I don't know. Maybe. But it is on ABC.com. You can watch it.
Oh, it's on
It's on
ABC.com.
ABC.com. If you look up the Quest, they still have it running.
Yes.
We're very grateful for them to, have that for everyone.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And it's on Amazon Prime. And
Oh,
what
it's on Amazon
is
Prime.
that behind you?
Who's that?
Oh my gosh.
What
Is that a
happening?
surprise
Come over.
guest?
Do we have a
Come over.
special surprise guest?
Speaking of the first season of The Quest.
What is happening? It's so
Look
exciting.
who's here. It's.
Here, take mine.
Okay.
Don't look now, ladies and gentlemen. It's Bonnie.
Hi, I don't know
Hi.
Paladin,
I know.
Paladin Bonnie.
where do I go. Hi, everybody.
Paladin Bonnie is here, everybody.
When they said Mark and Jane would be sitting in a Star Wars bar, I went, wait. Okay, I can come. I'm just gonna walk by and
Yay.
drink some blue milk and sorry.
Have you watched the new?
I'm not finished yet. No spoilers, please. I'm loving it so much. I'm the type of person that I don't have a lot of time right now to watch TV, and so.
Would you like a chair?
No.
I'm getting you a chair.
No, I'm fine.
There's one right there.
Oh, well, I guess it's.
We
not
got
easy.
plenty of
I haven't
chairs
had
and stools
too much
here.
free time to watch things, and when I watch something like this, I want to focus specifically on that. I don't want to be, writing emails and doing laundry
Totally.
and doing. I want to like focus in on it and like take notes about the lore and everything. So I'm really really excited to continue watching it. I'm also on episode 3 right now. So. And I just got to meet two of the paladins on Saturday, so.
Oh my
Bonnie.
gosh.
I'm ahead of everybody, even though I'm still behind in the episodes. I already got to hug 2 paladins, so.
No, but really, tell the folks at home, this happened during what event this weekend?
The Renaissance Fair.
No way.
You have to say it like that. It's
Quest paladins bumping into each other in the Ren Fair.
they were in their armor. I felt
can't
sad
even.
I didn't wear mine, but I also. It was like 100 degrees, so I didn't feel too bad that I wasn't wearing
can't.
like leather armor.
What is more synchronistic? What is more cosmic? Than
No,
to
we
be
felt very excited about that chance meeting. We saw it on social media.
My
And
face
got a
hurt
big
from
smile. It was
smiling.
a heart explosion.
So what did you learn on the first season on the ABC show that Bonnie was on? What did you learn from that carried over into this and influenced the Disney Plus version?
Well, I'm going to embarrass Bonnie now, but when we created the show, we posited that if you took people, real people, and put them in the world that they only dreamt of being in, that they would transform. They'd find more of themselves and more of their hero's heart, to be really earnest. And we watched it happen live with those paladins, but most especially this one. When she gets pinned by Sir Ansgar with her medal, it was this incredible human moment, and we were like, "Wow, this premise works." That it is taking real people and giving them the transformative experience that we watch in Lord of the Rings that Frodo has. It's available for real people, and that is. So to embarrass you, and look, I've got some tears going.
I thought I was
We
a
got-
goner on the first day when we were being chased by ogres. I was like, oh no, I didn't know I had to run. Like, oh no.
Paladin Jim Curry has joined us in the live chat.
Woo!
Paladin Jim, hello.
Our
He's
very
with us
own
in the
local
YouTube chat.
historian, yeah.
Yeah,
not local.
that's so awesome. There's a mini reunion happening right here on the OneRing.net. Ladies
Well,
and
and I'll
gentlemen,
tell you that
hello, Paladin
Paladin
Jim.
Jim got, before the Quest 2022 actually aired, he actually got a big old tattoo in honor of the event.
Of the
and
Orin
it is
Quest.
pretty amazing
Crest.
of the current Quest. And because when he was a paladin, his kingdom that he just by chance got was Aura, which is where our current show takes place.
Yeah.
So Bonnie, you were on the first iteration of this show. How you were there firsthand? You excelled. You grew. The audience followed you, fell in love with you. Your Twitter
I also
following
fell
grew.
Just in general.
They
They cut a lot of those out. By the way, my love to the editors who cut out so many snort laughs and me falling and.
Snort laughs.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing that makes me happier. I'm
do
telling the
as
audience
well.
right now, nothing makes me happier than a good Bonnie snort laugh.
I know.
Come on.
It should have been a drinking game.
So-
I mean, no. We're getting out. But we'll drink chocolate milk.
So I want to ask, how important do you think the show is to the new age group, the 12-year-olds, the 13-year-olds, 15?
So important. I mean, and just going back from the first one, and the kind of almost cult following that it found with the people. Shout out to the Quest Army, by the way. I don't know where I'm
Yes.
supposed to
For
look
sure.
at, But shout out to the Quest Army because y'all are amazing. And really, honestly, I think the reason this current season is happening because without them just continuing to like I don't
Beat
know,
the drum.
beat
Yeah,
down
they
the
never
door
lost faith.
of Everrealm's, realm. Wow, I'll take a coffee before I do this again. But no, I think. Sorry, to go back to your question before my ADHD takes me on a completely different tangent. I feel like it's so important because with our show, we had a lot of kids watching, especially younger kids, with their parents, and it is a family show, and it kind of beat that trope of you don't have to, be mean to one another or stab each other in the back. Yes, it was a competition show, but it wasn't really about winning. It was about kind of working together. And I think they just took those ideals and amplified it even more into this one. And also, again, it was everyone having their own strengths. It is all about being a hero. And again, going back to what I was saying earlier, I thought I was a goner on the first day. When we were up out in the woods and then running to the castle, being chased on horseback, I was like, if this is what it's going to be, like, they might as well just, like, fly me home tomorrow because I thought I was a goner. So I think that's what made me so emotional, that first challenge where because I was really thinking, how can I just, like, survive? And the fact that I was the first one pinned, I was like, oh my goodness. It was such an incredible feeling.
Do you wish that this world existed when you were 13?
Are you kidding me? I did, up here. Yeah. Oh, it did. I remember, again, I think in one of my interviews with y'all, I was telling them how when I was a kid, Lord of the Rings was what first got me into fantasy, and I would run around my room as Bonnie Baggins. I had a little butter knife in my pocket, that as my sting, in case my mom knocked on the door as an orc. I was like, no. I had my stuffed animals. I was going on adventures. Yeah, I mean, I had an imaginary friend that was a dragon because I was also a big fan of, what was that movie? Well, not obviously Pete's Dragons, but there was another one where it was like all these dragons. I can't remember. Dragon Age? No, it wasn't Dragon Age. That's a video game. Dragons! But I loved fantasy, and I had a giant wizard painted on my wall very badly. So that was awkward, having friends come over, seeing an old man over my bed, lightning bolts in his eyes. They're like, Bonnie, what's going on? I'm like, it's my wizard. They're like, okay.
Mark, we've got questions for you in the chat, and they're not Lord of the Rings. They
Okay.
want to know, should they watch the Disney Plus show first and then jump in to the ABC show that Bonnie was on? Where's the starting point?
You're asking my opinion?
Yeah.
They should watch the Disney Plus show first. Because the Disney Plus show is such a substantial reboot. And it also, much as we love the ABC version and we love the Dear Friends we made, the great thing about the Disney Plus version is we were able to take the gloves off and try some bold things that had we been able to do it on a traditional network television show, we would have.
I think they stand alone. I think they're really, you can watch
them separately. Yeah, I mean, look, from a mercenary standpoint, we would love everybody to get out there and watch the Disney Plus one because we'd like to do this over and over and over again. So numbers matter, data matters. So we would love everybody to watch if you're at all interested and inclined. We hope you like it. We've got an enormously positive feedback.
Do you have plans for the other realms? Like, is this a Westworld situation where there's different theme parks?
We have plans. We have lots of plans. And we have plans, really fun things that we want to do in terms of the structure. And, it just depends on getting that second chance.
It's time to quote Frank Herbert, I see plans within plans.
We have tons of plans.
And
plans with our characters and the good news is we've already proven out that we can jump time frames. There's a lot of history in every realm. And because there's a constant fight between the light and the dark, there's no end of conflict.
At any point, could anyone from Everrealm come through the wardrobe and appear here in our primary world? Is that possible?
So funny that you said that, because maybe.
Maybe.
See, it's talking.
Oh, yes. The magic portal is opening now. The portal is opening now.
Someone's
See?
coming through.
Tavora.
Good gravy.
We have effects in here.
Oh, wow, we really do. Lots of smoke.
Here's what Jim Curry says, and he's such a blessing to be here with us. the little things are celebrated. Kindness, compassion, not just brawn and popularity.
Yeah,
true.
He's
absolutely.
quite on point, Jim. Thank you. That's true.
I
It's great to
miss
have
him.
him here. You know,
Absolutely. So to answer your question, I think in the world of imagination, anything's possible, right?
Yes.
And we
yes,
have the perfect partners.
yes.
It's Disney. I mean, Walt Disney, who talked about bringing imagination to life, and like
Yes.
we were super corny when we repitched this to Disney. We said, in the words of your founder, like, what we do here is bring imagination to life. And
Yes.
so we can't imagine a better partner.
Yeah,
It's
for
been so
sure.
exciting.
What do you think? Why do you think fantasy is so big on TV right now? Did the cost of production come down? Are people just ready for fantasy, to live in it, to breathe in it, to return to it?
Escapism.
Yeah.
Escapism.
Yeah, and I think also the streamers, the competition between streamers drives distinctive programming, and I think that fantasy has proven itself to be, people are loyal to it as a genre. They're loyal to the stories. They'll keep coming back. It's endless. It's what we were talking about. There's so many ways that EverRealm could go. So I think that for a streamer who's going to invest a lot of money into content, it is a really wonderful world to be in.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And as someone who's been playing Dungeons and Dragons since the 70s, it's a genre where it facilitates one's projection, into it. Like you can see yourself, you can put yourself into situations that are archetypal, and you can grow through them. I mean, you can relate to content set anywhere, but there's something about fantasy that enables you to transcend a little easier.
Indeed. The competition between streamers that you mentioned has been very, very interesting. And of course, when we talk about popular culture, we talk about what's happening on our show every week, we talk about that weird intersection of, the money and the business aspect of it, and those forces that are driving Amazon Studios to make certain decisions, as we report on that every Tuesday. And there's also, at that same intersection, handling the fantasy itself and handling the intellectual property in a way that the audience appreciates and the audience wants to have more of.
Yeah.
So, you gotta leave them wanting more, right? Like you did with the first season of The Quest. It left us wanting more for years and years and years, and now here we are. It's so
Let the Vizier out.
I know.
We'll never know.
Let the Vizier
We're
out.
all dying to know.
It's interesting. I mean, Netflix.
Will we never know?
It's interesting.
Tell me.
Netflix threw so much money at a Jim Henson legacy property, and they did it right, and they ended up with, the Emmy Awards. They won the Emmy for that show. And then they canceled it. It's just so weird. But it is the competition between the streamers, which is pushing things like Carnival Row, and then Rings of Power, and The Quest. And it is interesting to see that happen. I never get tired of talking about that, really, that aspect of it.
We've got one more question before we let you go from the chat room. When can someone get the Choose Your Own Adventure spin-off book of The Quest?
Mark.
Well, we'd like that to be really soon, because boy, if that book comes into existence, you can be certain there'll be like a robust 360 expansion of EverRealm into everything.
But you guys have thought through the whole world at that level.
Yeah.
Like the sense
have.
I get is
Yes.
there are no unanswered questions, as you said in the pitch.
Yeah, I think so. I think that what's cool about the world, and I want to do a shout out to Greg Hale and Ed Sanchez, who helped us sort of imagine EverRealm.
Right.
That there are lots of questions answered, but there's also equally room for collaboration,
Yeah.
and that's where it gets very exciting. That we can invite in the next storytellers or the people that have great ideas, and then also leaves it open for the kids to participate in a way that's fun. I'm being chased off by
Jane.
Tavora. And then I just a pitch to anybody that hasn't seen it. We've been getting a lot of feedback from families and adults without children alike. That the families, the kids are obsessed and they want to see the monsters and they want to watch it over and over and over again. And we think that we've struck that chord of wanting to believe that we could live in these lands. And then for the adults, we're finding that a lot of people feel really nostalgic about what they were like when they were 12 or 13 and wishing that there could be a show when they were kids that was like this. And then there are people that are like, wow, I really like this. I'm surprised, you know, that because it is a family show, but there's something for everyone. So that's my pitch. We really love it. We really we want to share it with as many people as possible.
The chat room is saying the graphic novel also. Like they, they watched The Quest. A bunch of people in the chat watched The Quest over the weekend with their family. And now they want to read more about what was in this show.
We would love nothing better. That would be fantastic. It would be a joy to create all those different story extensions.
Disney, I heard you're good at merch.
You get armor. You get armor.
Paladin Jim says, I'll help write it. Good.
All right,
Come
the
on in,
librarian.
Jim, do it. Let's do it.
Jim, you get the book, I get the soundtrack. With all powers combined. Wherever camera
I'm loving this. We know lots of talented comic book writers and illustrators. You know, let's talk to Colleen Doran, who's been busy working on Sandman for all these decades.
Love it.
I love Colleen, and she's one of the biggest ringers out there. We interviewed her for our documentary a number of years ago. She's got a big crush on Sean Bean, you know that. I love you, Colleen. I know you're here. I love you. So, do we really have to finish up because it's after 6 o'clock?
The smoke monster wants to kill us.
Yeah.
It's the rumblings of the dragon that sleeps underneath the cantina.
But we can meet again.
We can meet again.
Can you come and join us again for more
We
mischief?
would love
Oh my gosh,
to.
we'd
We
love
would
to
love
see
to.
more.
You guys can finish it, and then we can have a real throwdown. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I'm loving this. This is so fun to have Mark
Thank
Ordesky,
you.
Jane Fleming, Bonnie.
Some random woman off the street.
Paladin.
Who are
Tell us about how much fun it is doing voices now for Star Trek. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so
a dream
excited
come
for you.
true. It's a dream come true.
It is so
I'm
exciting.
huge fantasy nerd and huge sci-fi dork. You know, didn't want to use nerd twice. So when I got the audition to do voices on Star Trek, I went, oh. It's like the best of both worlds. I honestly get to say that I have let my loves of fantasy and sci-fi and like nerd geek pulp culture help me find a career in it. And honestly, the Quest was really what opened a lot of those doors too. Just finding, you know, I was already going to Comic-Cons, already like trying to do nerdy things within entertainment. And once I did the Quest, it was kind of like a way for me to just go to a con and share my love of nerddom with the world, and it really opened up a lot of
I will
doors.
say one more thing is that we really stay away from the Paladins when we're on set. Like, we don't know them.
Is that a union rule?
No, we just want them to have an experience. Why do they need to know who we are? You know, we cast them and then we stepped away. And then when people, you know, when it's over, we introduce ourselves, and we were lucky because Bonnie lives here in LA, and we went and had a coffee, and we said, well, what do you want to do? And she said, I want to do, and she goes X, Y, and Z, and she's done them all.
Yeah.
And so that is, my people, the power to manifest what you want for yourself and believing in yourself and going and getting it. And I'm hoping.
And doing it in a positive, loving way, because especially just everyone be nice to each other and be kind to each other, and that also helps you grow and able to manifest things.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the final world.
That's
Let's
how they
bring
are.
some peace in the world.
In Hollywood, like these two producers, sometimes it's an evil industry, and they are the most kindest, most amazing people you will ever find.
Thank
And that's
you.
why the Quest has so much heart, because it has people behind it with so much heart. The end.
Aw,
I'll stop
jeez.
interrupting
Thank you.
now. I'm not even supposed to be here. I
Well-
don't even go to the school.
That's a beautiful way to end the show. Beautifully said, Bonnie. I'm so grateful, you know, that you all came here and spent time out of your day, very busy schedules. It's exciting to be part of the audience now. We are, as I often say on this broadcast, we are the beneficiaries of your very hard work, yet again, in the realm of fantasy. Well done. Well done.
Well, we have the best fans in the world. I mean, honestly, it's such a wonderful group of people who really are so supportive of what we do. And, you know,
The Quest Army is real.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are real.
Totally
Yes,
real.
The Quest Army. Jim, I know, I agree with you. Merch. I agree, Paladin Jim. Where's The merch.
All right,
Here
the
comes
smoke
the fun,
monster
the
is
smoke
coming
monster.
back.
All right.
We've got to wrap this up before I get eaten here. Thank you to Jane and Mark. You can catch Disney Plus in all regions.
All countries.
In all countries, some dubbed, some subbed.
No, all
maybe.
dubbed.
All dubbed.
They did.
Oh my
they
God.
Did language localization for every possible
Dub?
territory
Yes.
and country around the world.
So
Yes.
Disney really supported this. I
Oh,
mean,
Yes.
yeah, definitely.
I love it. I love that. That's
all right, so
good.
check it out on Disney Plus. It is all episodes streaming now. They just dropped the whole thing. It's 8 episodes. It's awesome. Watch it with your family. Watch it with your 6-year-olds because
Oh,
we're
yeah. Even I mean, I have to say there's like a couple of scary parts in that first episode, but for the most part, it's pretty manageable. And our friend, one of the writers, 2-year-old, watched the first 2 episodes and loves the moose monster in episode 2.
The Moose Monster. I loved him too. He's called the Dragoria?
Dragior.
The Dragior, okay. He was having so much fun in that role.
He's a real he's a very serious suit actor, and he's doing a lot around town. His name's Dane Delegro. Sorry, Dane. And he's wonderful.
More rocks for the paladins. I love him. He was great. So I guess it is time to say
It
farewell.
is time to say farewell.
Is it
Thank
time to
you
say
to
farewell?
Bonnie Baggins for crashing the show. And check out The Quest because we love good fantasy. It's on Disney Plus everywhere you can watch it. And we're here every week, sometimes from Scum and Villainy, sometimes from the netherworld of the internet, sometimes from random places.
Like my living room. But it's all going to come together next week at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Be sure to join us then.
I have more stories from London next week.
He has more stories because I didn't go, and I'd like to hear some of these stories. It's going to be interesting. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we can't do it without you. Thank you for being our faithful audience, and thank you for being part of this.
Thanks for having us.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you so much.
You guys are forever family with the OneRing.net. Oh, she said.
Count it.
Forever Rome.
Ooh, I love it. Forever Realm. She's there. I'm there. See you guys on Disney Plus watching The Quest, and then come back and join us for Torn Tuesday. Next week, there'll be much more news and gossip and probably some actual hardcore conversation about what's happening in the next 4 months as we anticipate the Rings of Power ultimately coming in the first week of September. So until then, everybody, stay safe, be kind to yourselves, and be kind to your fellow human being next to you, because they're sitting in the room with you. Let's be kind and love one another. Until next week, I wish you all good night and good luck, or better yet, buenos noches y buena suerte. Bye, everybody.